Eclipse of the Colossals Chapter 1. The awakening. The cold steel of the Argonaut hummed gently underfoot as it sliced through the undulating swells of the Pacific. On board, the air was thick with anticipation and the chatter of scientists and researchers busy preparing for the mission at hand. Dr. Elara Hawke stood on the deck, gazing at the horizon as the dawn's light spilled over the ocean. She felt the pull of the unknown, an allure she hadn't felt in years. The discovery of the ancient artifact had ignited a flame of curiosity within her, one that burned fiercely despite the risks that lay ahead. Months earlier, a routine underwater survey had unveiled what seemed to be an impossibility, a colossal obelisk buried deep beneath the ocean floor. Initial scans suggested it was neither natural nor man-made, its stone surface etched with indecipherable glyphs that hinted at a civilization far beyond their understanding. Intrigued, Elara had rallied a team of experts to join her on the Argonaut, convinced that uncovering the secrets of the obelisk would change everything they knew about history and humanity's place within it. As the vessel neared the coordinates, excitement and tension mingled among the crew. Elara could sense their collective unease and knew she was responsible for guiding them through whatever lay ahead. To steady herself, she thought of her daughter, Eva, whose wide-eyed wonder had always pulled her forward. Elara's resolve was firm. She had to unlock the obelisk's secrets, not just for science's sake, but to pave a future for her daughter and the generations to come. Under the unmoving gaze of her second-in-command, Dr. Marcus Reed, preparations were made for the descent. The submersible, equipped with advanced sonar and robotic arms, was lowered into the water. Its pilot, a seasoned adventurer named Jake Sterling, settled into the cockpit, his usual bravado tempered by the gravity of the mission.
"All systems go," Jake reported through the comms, his voice cutting through the tension like a taut wire vibrating in the wind.
Elara nodded, signaling the start of the dive. As the submersible descended into the abyss, its cameras illuminated the eerie silence of the deep with beams of light, revealing the ocean's hidden textures and shadows. Elara couldn't help but hold her breath as they neared the obelisk. When it finally came into view, its sheer size and the ancient glyphs intricately carved upon its surface left the team in awe. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, a sentinel standing alone in the depths, waiting to be awakened.
"Activating scanners," Jake announced, his voice a steady anchor in the storm of elation and dread that surged through Elara's mind.
The data began streaming in, and the scientists crowded around the monitors, deciphering the strange symbols, marveling at the obelisk's composition. What happened next changed everything. As the submersible's probe made contact with the obelisk, a vibration so intense it was almost audible shook the water. The screens flickered, circuits sparking, before a pulse of energy erupted from the artifact, enveloping the Argonaut and everything for miles around. Elara's heart raced as she struggled to comprehend the unfathomable light and energy that now surrounded them, feeling the very fabric of reality bend. And then, as quickly as it began, the light vanished, leaving them in total darkness. The Argonaut was eerily silent as the crew regained their bearings. Elara's mind whirled, trying to grasp the magnitude of what had occurred. The pulse had changed everything. As lights flickered back on, she looked around at her team, their expressions mirroring her own sense of disbelief and wonder. They were no longer in the world they knew. An extraordinary journey had begun, one that would lead them far beyond the reaches of Earth, into the realm of the giants. Chapter 2. Arrival in Xanthera. The first thing Elara noticed was the sky. It stretched endlessly above them, a canvas of swirling colors and constellations that defied earthly logic. A sensation akin to weightlessness washed over her as she and the crew emerged from the Argonaut. The ship now rested amidst a landscape of staggering beauty, floating mountains casting shadows across fields of luminous flora and rivers of liquid light. Xanthera was a world apart from anything they had ever seen, a place where the natural laws they once knew seemed rewritten. Elara inhaled the alien air, a refreshing blend of scents both familiar and exotic. Despite the strangeness surrounding them, a sense of calm pervaded her, as if the world itself whispered promises of peace and understanding. Yet as she surveyed her team, she could see the edges of fear in their eyes. Their faces reflected the enormity of the unknown adventure they had embarked upon, an excitement overshadowed by the potential perils of this new realm. Dr. Marcus Reed, ever cautious yet filled with the fervor of discovery, stood beside Elara, cataloging their immediate surroundings with his handheld device.
"We have to assume the basics have changed," he murmured, his eyes scanning the horizon. "Everything here defies the rules of physics as we know them. We need to figure out how to communicate to understand what this world is telling us."
Elara nodded, already feeling the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Her thoughts drifted to the obelisk and the pulsating energy that had brought them here. Had it been a call for help, a beacon awakening them to the plight of this land, or simply a trap set by unknown hands? The question spiraled, demanding answers. As they ventured further from the Argonaut, the scale of Xanthera became increasingly apparent. Towering trees with crystal-like foliage shimmered with colors that danced in the light, their branches reaching out into the sky like the fingers of gods. The team wandered through glades of giant ferns and sprawling meadows under the shadow of the floating mountains, each step echoing the surreal sensation of walking in a dream. Their reverie was broken by an echoing call, a sound so resonant it seemed to vibrate through their bones. The team paused, tense with anticipation. From the forest emerged a colossal figure, its presence both majestic and terrifying. The giant moved with an elegance that belied its size, each stride purposeful and measured, its skin a tapestry of texture and hue reflecting the land itself. The creature towered over 100 feet, an embodiment of strength and wisdom. Its eyes, deep pools of understanding, locked onto Elara's, and in that moment, a connection sparked across time and space. The giant's gaze was neither hostile nor welcoming, merely probing, assessing the newcomers to its world. Suddenly, a chorus of more cries echoed from beyond the trees, and other giants emerged, an entire society of towering beings manifesting before the awestruck crew. Elara raised a hand, uncertain of the gesture's implication, but driven by instinct rather than logic. The lead giant tilted its colossal head, mimicking the motion in acknowledgement.
"It's incredible," whispered Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the team's linguist and cultural specialist. "They seem organized, intelligent. We have so much to learn if we can find a way to communicate."
Elara nodded, determination hardening her resolve. They needed allies in this new world, a means to bridge the chasm of understanding between them. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, her heart pounding as she sought to convey through gestures and tone their peaceful intent. The giant watched her, and for a split second, the weight of countless worlds hung in the balance. Then, slowly, it extended a massive hand toward the humans, its palm open and welcoming. Elara took a moment, choice and fate interlacing like threads of destiny. With her heart in her throat, she motioned the team to follow, as they walked toward the giant's outstretched hand. It was a precarious alliance offered between worlds, one that could spell either salvation or doom. Chapter 3. Bridging worlds under the guidance of their giant hosts, the Argonaut crew ventured deeper into Xanthera. The landscape unfurled before them like the pages of a mystical tome, villages nestled in floating nooks, crystalline rivers tracing routes impossible on Earth. The giants lived in harmony with their surreal surroundings, their dwellings crafted with an elegance that complemented the ethereal landscape. The team was led toward the heart of the giant settlement, their journey punctuated by awe-inspiring vistas and the silent questions that lingered in each crew member's mind. The giant society, though alien in scale and structure, hinted at a complexity and depth far removed from the brute simplicity many of the team initially expected. As they were ushered into an expansive chamber carved into the base of a levitating mountain, the floor beneath them emitted a gentle luminescence. It was there that they met the elder of the giants, a being of immense stature and unyielding presence whose aura radiated both wisdom and the weight of eons. The elder spoke, its voice resonating like the distant rumble of a summer storm. The sounds were unintelligible, a symphony of rich tones and rhythms, yet within its cadence lay elements that tugged at human intuition. Dr. Yuki Tanaka focused intently, seeking patterns, bridging the vast linguistic divide. Slowly, through a combination of symbols, etched upon glowing stones and mimed gestures, the first tentative steps of communication emerged. Yuki's skillful interpretation led to an exchange of crucial concepts, peace, understanding, and the urgent need to rectify the disturbance triggered by the artifact's activation. The Elder seemed to understand their plight and responded by presenting a historical tapestry, a visual narrative woven into the fibers of time, showcasing Xanthera's history and the origins of the obelisk. The visions revealed an ancient union between the conscious energies of Xanthera and the obelisk's creators, an alliance meant to safeguard both worlds from a cosmic calamity foretold by prophecy, the Eclipse. As these images unfurled before her eyes, Elara realized the gravity of their unplanned intervention. The obelisk was never just a monument but a pivotal keystone, maintaining the balance of realms separated yet intertwined. Its awakening had set in motion the Eclipse, a release of cosmic forces that threatened to unravel both Earth and Xanthera. The giants, in their towering wisdom, seemed prepared to aid the Argonaut team if they could prove themselves as allies rather than disruptors. Through further exchanges, Elara shared their earthly knowledge of science and technology, illustrating how their skills could help mend the rift that had been opened. The Elder listened, nodding with a slow deliberation that stirred a hopeful warmth within Elara's chest. Yet trust was not given freely, as elements of skepticism brewed within certain factions of the giant society. Some demanded proof of the humans' intentions. Others were swayed by dark whispers, viewing the newcomers as harbingers of doom. Elara understood the skepticism but believed in the power of actions over words. She proposed a joint mission with a few trusted giants and members of her team to locate and comprehend the secondary obelisks scattered across the floating lands. These satellites, she suspected, controlled and amplified the heartbeat of the central obelisk, essential keys in reversing the cataclysmic energy slowly tearing their realities apart. With the Elder's tentative blessing, the coalition took shape. Among the giants stood a young but fiercely intelligent figure known as Elaris, keenly observant and now empathetic toward the humans after witnessing their fears and hopes. Elaris' curiosity proved invaluable as he unraveled ancient inscriptions that even the giants had long dismissed. Together, they embarked on a journey through treacherous terrains and mind-bending landscapes, facing obstacles both natural and supernatural. During these trials, an unspoken camaraderie arose between the humans and their colossal companions, weaving a tapestry of unity stronger than any initial doubt. Chapter 4. Trials of Unity. As their expedition wove through Xanthera's endless tapestry, the company stumbled upon ruins swallowed by time and nature. These ancient relics stood as poignant reminders of a bygone era, where titanic endeavors once unfolded to stave off an existential threat cosmic in magnitude. While deciphering old texts within the ruins, Elaris and Dr. Marcus Reed uncovered references to the Eclipse, a cyclic calamity that, according to myth, bestowed balance if harnessed, or devastation if misaligned. These texts hinted that in breaching the obelisk's power, the equilibrium was diseased, now cascading toward ruin unless recalibrated. Despite growing challenges, from ravaging beasts born of the twisted realms to natural disasters ignited by the dimension's dissonance, the emerging bond between human and giant endured. They realized that within each challenge lay lessons that might harness the Eclipse's potential for harmony rather than destruction. Yet, as shadows grew longer, so did the uncertainty. Not all giants were amenable to this alliance. Some gave heed to a faction led by the imperious titan known as Zoran. Consumed by a festering fear, he believed the humans heralded the ancient prophesied end and sought their expulsion from Xanthera. Elara, recognizing a critical juncture, summoned her core instinct. Embrace understanding, build bridges where fathoms deepened. She approached Zoran with vulnerability cloaked in strength, wielding raw truth as her shield. She spoke of Earth, of Eva, of shared futures awaiting salvation or ruin, an eloquent overture planting seeds of reflection. As Zoran hesitated, battles waged within realms seen and unseen. Trust echoed fragile in both societies, yet whispers of change rippled through the giants, sowing seeds deep within Xanthera. With doors finally ajar, the coalition, including reluctant adherents, pressed toward the final obelisk site, a titanic chamber alive with rhythmic pulsations, reminiscent of a heartbeat. Chapter 5. The Eclipse reimagined. Arriving at the obelisk's ultimate sanctum, their hopeful yet wary alliance stood before the cradle of a legend's truth. Lights shone forth, bathing them in coruscating patterns intertwining through history. Patterns Elara felt but could not understand alone. The floor beneath translated their unified resolve into tangible reality, weaving intricate pathways throughout the chamber. Alaris, with newfound understanding gained from their journey, joined Elara and her team, decoding the tapestry of light and sound that sang within the sanctum's heart. Together, they pieced together the syntax of the obelisk's silent song, each note unraveling the energy threads binding this world to its cosmic counterpart. As they worked, the eclipse shadow loomed ever closer, a celestial harbinger gathering upon the cusp of manifestation. The alignment of the heavens, as the old texts predicted, approached its zenith, bringing with it the climactic forces capable of cleansing or consuming both worlds. The atmosphere within the chamber grew electric, tension flaring as the obelisk's core began to pulse violently, echoing the chaotic energies building within the sky. Elara, Marcus, and Yuki worked alongside Alaris, their fingers dancing over control panels and glyphs, synthesizing human technology with ancient wisdom in a desperate gambit to channel the eclipse's energies. The faction led by Zoran watched with bated breath, their previous skepticism now intertwined with an ounce of hope that perhaps unity could tip the scales back towards balance.
Elara, we only have one chance at this.
Marcus shouted over the rising hum, his gaze locked onto hers with a mixture of fear and determination. Elara nodded, sweat slicked on her brow as she focused intently. Each sequence they executed aligned heartbeats of Earth and Xanthera, knitting fractured destinies in an intricate dance of existence. The obelisk responded with growing clarity, light cascading its surface in pulsing waves, each pulse matching the rhythm of life forged between two worlds. As the celestial eclipse completed its arc in the heavens, the obelisk flared with radiant intensity, enveloping them in a torrent of cascading energies, vibrant and terrifying. The chamber trembled, an unyielding force beckoning to be unleashed. In that pivotal moment, alliances stood tested not by the strength shared but by the truths revealed. Each faction, whether human or giant, now recognized the frailty cradled within opposing hands. A final command from Elara, born of collated wisdom and the trust now palpable in the air, initiated the obelisk's full awakening, a surge reframing the cosmic architecture that tied their worlds. Light exploded outward, a beacon that reached into the heart of the heavens. Within the sanctum, time seemed to dilate and contract, encompassing lifetimes of dreams, battles, and reconciliations in a singular heartbeat. As the brilliance subsided, silence returned, a silence steeped not in absence, but completeness. The obelisk, now dormant once more, stood revitalized, a guardian timeless, charged with preserving the balance an eclipse could bestow. Elara and her team gasped as mundane sensation returned. Warmth, gravity, the rhythm of their own heartbeats. They stood hand in hand with the giants, eyes reflecting not just the world reborn but futures entwined. Chapter 6. A new dawn. With the cosmic equilibrium restored, the landscape around them subtly shifted. The weight of uncertainty lifted, leaving a resonant harmony that sang through the air. The divided factions of giants found resolution, understanding now that unity with the humans bore fruit once hidden by fear. Elara stood, the legacy of their alliance imprinted below the strange turn of stars. The giants, once titans of isolated might, now allies shaped by interconnected strengths, hailed the humans not as foreboding mysteries, but fellow guardians of shared realms. Depths of emotion filled their exchanges, words of thanks transcending language barriers. Upon their return to the heart of the settlement, the giant sand humans celebrated beneath the kaleidoscope sky as kindred souls who faced an eclipse and emerged whole. Elara, standing beside Alaris and the others, felt the magnitude of their journey, a pilgrimage not simply concluded but unfolded upon new paths. Her thoughts drifted to her daughter, Eva, the world she had left behind, the possibilities now unlocked through understanding and courage. As the sky brightened, the giants, in acknowledgement of their bond, guided the Argonaut team back to their vessel. It felt different now, not merely a bridge to return home, but an echo of Xanthera woven into every facet of its design. With tearful goodbyes intertwined with promises of a future partnership, Elara prepared herself for the journey back, the interwoven destinies of Earth and Xanthera now poised to usher in ages brimming with fresh discovery and enduring hope. As the Argonaut ascended upon waves of light, leaving the shared resonance of Xanthera below, Elara thought of the eclipse not as an end, but a rebirth, a harbinger illuminating truths long hidden, now shining in the hearts of giants.